What's up, all you mentees? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, and join me today for an advanced look at some trade paperbacks from Marvel Comics. So, let's get started. And welcome back, everybody. Now, before getting started, a huge thank you to David Gabriel and the folks at Marvel for sending us advanced copies of these trades. These books are due out in the direct market on February 24th, and a couple of weeks later in the book market. So, the very first one we're going to be talking about is one that actually came out last week, but I literally just got it, and that is Captain America Heroes Return, the complete collection. I'll be talking about where exactly this fits into in the Captain America reading order. Let's get started, all you trade watchers. So, Captain America Heroes Return, the complete collection, Volume 1. And this has been already released in small trade paperback formats. It's been released in Marvel Premiere formats. It's been released in an omnibus because it's part of the Mark Waid Captain America omnibus. And speaking of Mark Waid, this literally seals the deal on what the final Captain America Epic Collection was going to be, even though most of us have already kind of assumed it was. Captain America Epic Collection Volume 22, Man Without Country, will be the final Captain America Epic Collection. Just meaning that that is where Captain America will end being collected in epic format. And then after that, well, we have Onslaught, then we have Heroes Reborn, which actually has been released as a complete collection. And then we have this. So this fits right after the Return, the Heroes Return omnibus that came out, or the trade paperback. It's after the whole fight with Onslaught, and Captain America comes back to the 616 universe after being gone for a year. With, who was it? Jim Lee? No, Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld and Jeff Loeb, actually, got the script, some of that. So, Captain America returns with the character and the creators that kind of set him off before Onslaught happened, and that is Mark Waid and Ron Garney. So, both of them return to the character, and for the first time, it's collected in complete collection. So this collects the 1998 series Captain America 1 through 12 and the two annuals from 1998, the Captain America Iron Man annual and the Captain America Citizen V annual. So Lady Deathstrike makes an appearance. Not a character you would usually see fighting Captain America, but this is Mark Waid after all. So the annuals, not to be confused, yes, my favorite Avenger villain. The annuals, back to my point, usually would come out and they were numbered. Annual number 1, annual number 2, annual number 3. And then in the 90s, they started doing annual 94, 95, 96. And it kept on even after the return of these characters from the Image universe. Or, I'm sorry, the Pocket universe, known as the Heroes Reborn universe. So, that's what those annuals are. And then they started putting two characters together per annual to tell one story. All of Marvel Comics were doing that. So, Ron Garney does kick this off. We have also the return of some classic characters that were part of Captain America's supporting cast before he took off in the Heroes Reborn universe. Now, the other thing I was going to say is Ron Garney kicks this off, but Andy Kubert ends up taking over the run. I think this is Del Eaglesham. He takes a couple of fill-in issues. Yeah. And then Kubert ends up taking over the book. And I think this is probably my favorite Andy Kubert artwork, and that probably has to do a lot with the inks. I don't know what it is about Andy's art during this time, because honestly, this whole fight over Joe, Adam, or Andy, I think most people would probably go with Joe Kubert. Most of us that grew up in the 80s and 90s would probably go between the two brothers, Adam or Andy. For me, it was always Adam. Not because he drew Wolverine. I just like the way that he drew his figures. I love the way that he drew the postures and the over-the-top poses that he would put on his figures. Whereas Andy was a lot more laid back with the posing of figures. But this right here, man, he was just in a whole new level. I really enjoyed his artwork here. And like I said, that's probably got to do with this inker right here, Jesse Delperdang, who has an awesome name. A lot of heavy use of more shadows instead of cross-hatching during this era. Love the way that he draws big characters. So this book, by the way, retails for $39.99 and has 416 pages. So complete collections are the same price. The exact, sometimes more pages than an Epic collection. For example, we're looking at two books that are little over 400 pages. And the differences in the Epic collections, why they seem a little bit thicker, is the paper quality that they use for these. The paper quality that they use for this is a little bit thicker than they use for the complete collection. So it's a little bit thinner, but they're also glossier. I'm not sure if you can tell because of the lighting, but the complete collections have always been a little glossier than the classic or semi-classic, semi-gloss paper that they use for the Epic collections. Next up is Spider-Man Bloodline. And this is pretty interesting because this is the direct market cover by Chip Kidd. And on the left is the standard edition cover by Sara Pichelli. Now, what's interesting is that they don't really do that for trade paperbacks. They mainly do that for Omnis. However, there's a few exceptions like the Eternals trade paperbacks. The other thing I'm going to say is that I have to talk a little bit about spoilers. So if you have no idea what Bloodlines is about, other than the fact that it's J.J. Abrams and his son Henry Abrams and Sara Pichelli as the illustrator working on this book, you may want to skip ahead. I do put the timestamps in the description of the video when I'm talking about each book, if that helps you navigate through the video. So just in case, there's a little bit of a spoiler that is revealed at the end of the first issue, and I don't want to spoil that for anybody that has not read it. So just a fair warning. All right, for all you brave souls or people that have already read this or people that don't care, here we are with Spider-Man Bloodline. Written by J.J. Abrams and his son Henry Abrams, and drawn by the phenomenal Sara Pichelli, who changes up her art style a little bit during this era. So, it is an alternate reality where Peter Parker and Mary Jane are, they're about to become separated due to an unfortunate event, and this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. And again, this is an alternate reality. It's not part of the 616 universe, but we are introduced to the character of Cadaverous, who's this alien being that wants to eradicate the world. And MJ gets killed in the process. And it's a heartbreaking moment, and Spider-Man, Peter Parker himself, gets maimed. He gets hurt. And we are introduced to his son, Ben. So, it's an alternate reality. We've seen this similar story with Spider-Girl, but this is a 5-issue miniseries. So this does collect the 5-issue miniseries of Bloodline. That started in 2019, but it went through some delays. So we're introduced to Ben. Peter Parker's a little bit older now, and he's telling Ben to stay out of trouble. And of course, Ben doesn't really want to listen to his father. He wants to continue that legacy of Spider-Man. So what is this about? Well, it's Ben taking over the role of Spider-Man. And I'll let you find out what happens and how this plays out later on. I did want to say that this book retails for $17.99. Both of the covers do. And it has 136 pages in this particular collection. Let's get going in here. Just a little more of the artwork. She is an amazing artist. I fell in love with her art during the Ultimate years, but she has since blown up. Like, her art has just evolved into something else. And I will be honest, while this is beautiful, I've seen her work look a lot cleaner and a lot smoother. And I think she's just changing up her art style for this particular storyline. Okay, we're looking at some variants in the back to covers number 1. There's the Chip Kidd variant that they use for this direct market variant. Some more variants. I don't think I've seen that Javier Rodriguez picture. And the one person I did not give credit to that, dang it, I really should have, is Dave Stewart. He's the one that supplies this with the colors, and they are stunning. And he is no stranger to doing colors for comic books at all. Conan the Barbarian, Exodus and Other Tales. What I thought was going to be let's skim through here and see what this new Conan is about, turned out to be something I was hooked on, and I'll tell you a couple of reasons why, this being one of them. So this is a trade paperback, and it retails for $15.99. It has 112 pages. And it collects Conan the Barbarian, the one-shot called Exodus. It's got Savage Sword of Conan, number 12. That's pretty interesting that that's not collected in the other trade paperbacks, but it makes sense. And King Size Conan, number 1. So the very first thing you're going to see here is this is drawn and written by Esad Ribic as far as the Exodus storyline. Savage Sword of Conan 12 is written by Frank Thierry, and Andrea Di Vito is the penciler. Scott Hanna, one of my favorite inkers, is the inker on that book. But the main thing that I was like, okay, I can't put this down. 2 of my favorite creators on Conan, my favorite writer of all time, and then the man behind Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, who I freaking respect, all do this king-size Conan book. So it's a fast read. And it's so weird because you get used to Roy Thomas's storytelling in the classic Marvel era, that, it takes time to read Conan. It's a little wordy. Sometimes it's a little too wordy, but hey, I'm not hating on that. And then we get to Esad Ribic's story, which is literally no dialogue. He lets the art tell the story, and I don't want to flip too much through here because I want you all to enjoy this story for yourselves. But this is just a little bit of the take on his Conan, and it's a young Conan. He's a lot younger than what you're probably used to seeing. And let's just do one more page. There is a little bit of dialogue, and I'm not going to spoil how that comes about, but I'll let you find out. It's a pretty unique way of doing it, but it's got this beautiful, gorgeous artwork that we are so used to seeing from Esad Ribic. The second story, which is found right here in Savage Sword of Conan number 12. By the way, some of the variants are on the opposite page or behind the standard covers, the regular covers. So this is a standalone story by Frank Thierry. Frank Thierry has written for Marvel for many years. He did the Ravencroft miniseries, and he also did Wolverine for a while, Weapon X. And he does have his own independent comics out there. He's written for Aftershock, and he's got a very similar, Pestilence is very similar to a Conan story. So I was really looking forward to this, and this was a lot of fun, but this is what some of the artwork looks like. It is your brutal take on Conan, and then we get the Return of the King right here. Roy Thomas teaming up with Steve McNiven. Steve McNiven's artwork is just gorgeous, and to see him draw Conan outside of just a cover or a poster or pinup, it's awesome. Now, he is literally channeling his Barry Windsor Smith to draw this particular story with Roy Thomas, and I love it. It's freaking awesome. So during this time, Conan is a little bit slimmer. He's what we've seen in the pages of Conan, the original Marvel years, with issue number 1, when Barry Windsor Smith was drawing him. But just to read Roy Thomas again and then have the wonderful artwork of Steve McNiven, this was a freaking joy to read. And you could see why I couldn't put it down. And as I mentioned, Kurt Busiek has a story in here, as well as Chris Claremont has a story in here. And then Kevin Eastman. And Kevin Eastman, of course, stands out mainly because of his independent style artwork that graced the pages of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Did I even say that right? Uncanny Omar talked pretty one day. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, let's look in the back here for some extras. I honestly forgot about this story right here. This is drawn by Jesus Saiz, and it's a story with Beylit, who's one of my favorite characters. I fell in love with that woman. Now, in the back is where I was trying to go. So we have maps. I love when they include maps. We have variant covers. And then here's a guy I wish would draw more internal stuff. I really miss his artwork, and that's Nick Bradshaw. He's drawn a lot of covers, a lot of variants, but I haven't seen him do internal stuff. Here is a hidden gem, is what they call the classic covers. This, of course, being Big John Buscema, who's, man, he's been gone since, I want to say 2001 is when he passed away, 2002. Carlos Pacheco, another guy I want to see draw the internal pages of Conan. That's an interesting Todd Knock cover. It's a close-up of Conan. Now, let's keep going. It's spine watching time. So here you go. At this moment, just reminding everybody to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Pause the video, mute me, whatever you have to do to look at those spines. Let's keep going. Miles Morales, Ultimatum. This is volume 4 of the Saladin Ahmed run. This one retails for $17.99. Let's go ahead and come in here, and all of it written by Saladin Ahmed, Corey Smith, Carmen Carnero, and Marcelo Ferreira are the main pencilers. And then you have all the inkers and the colorists and letterers. So during this time, Miles Morales is living in the 616 universe. This is after the events of Ultimatum and Secret Wars. So why is this called Ultimatum? Because there's a new character that appeared, I think his first appearance was in Spider-Man 2, which is a Brian Michael Bendis miniseries that was the second meeting between Peter Parker 616 universe and Miles Morales from the Ultimate Universe before he came and lived in our universe. So that's why this is called Ultimatum, and because it's the villain that shows up in these pages. But during this time, Miles has a new little sister, and right off the bat, he's having to babysit his sister. And of course, that's never an easy task for a superhero to do. The cool thing that I'd forgotten about was Ultimatum has ties to some of these characters, and I will let you find out how. Now, we do have the return of some other characters from the Ultimate Universe, so I'm going to be careful flipping pages through here. And yes, I realize that you all see the Prowler, but I mean, he's been around for a little while. I meant others. But yes, we do have the return of his uncle, and they are reunited. Whether he's on the side of the angels or not, I will let you find out for yourself. But I just want to showcase some of the artwork without spoiling who else shows up. There we go. Love Miles' costume in the 616 universe. And here's the covers. Of course, there's the baby variant. Why is Miles fighting Spider-Man? Well, you can find out for yourself. Now, let's look in the back here for some extras, because I don't want to spoil this one for people that have not been reading it. Definitely censoring that final page, because that is a big spoiler, but to your right is a variant cover by Pasquale Ferri. And we have another Nick Bradshaw, Ron Lim. I always love seeing his name. This is during the Champions days. 136 pages, $17.99. Nullified. It's awesome, from the King in Black. And then one from Nicholas Schumacher. So what this collects is the Miles Morales. I've done an Ultimate Spider-Man reading order. Let me make sure there's no spoilers here. Yeah, here we go. So if you want to check out that video, just click on the link above. But this collects Miles Morales Spider-Man, the 2018 series, that started in 2018 rather, number 16 through 21. All of it written by Saladin Ahmed. Last but certainly not least is another complete collection. And I like to think that, maybe I'm wrong, the people that are getting the Epic collections are also getting complete collections to keep reading these stories. Because as I mentioned several times, and I'll do it again, is that these are identical to the Epic collections with the exception of the paper quality that they use. But as far as price and how much content are collected in each of these, absolutely, they are just like the new age Epic collections. And what's going to be interesting is when these get rebranded, I don't know, 15 years from now, when these become Epic collections, man, I'm going to feel old. It's going to be like when classic rock was, to me, like 60s, 70s maybe, pushing it. Now it's like 80s? What the hell? Anyway, where was I? Okay, Captain America, Sam Wilson, the complete collection, Volume 2. Wrapping up the run of Sam Wilson with the shield of Captain America. So here is your credits. I love that they do this. What issues, who did what, who worked on what. And it kicks off with Captain America Sam Wilson, number 7, celebrating 75 years of Captain America. So here you find out the identity of the Whisperer, who was a big character in the previous volume. And it's a reunion of 3 Captain Americas. You've had Bucky, Sam Wilson, who's the new Captain America, and Captain America Steve Rogers. All 3 of them teaming up. Now, during this time, spoiler, just a little bit of a spoiler, but just in case you're wondering how all this came about, again, I have timestamps at the bottom in the description of the video if you want to skip around, in case you're not wanting even the little bit slightest of a spoiler. But anyway, where was I? Spoilers, yes. Captain America Steve Rogers during this time is old because of events that happened in, Original Sin and other storylines. But it happened in the pages of Rick Remender's main book. And that's kind of where Sam Wilson took over the role of Captain America, was in Rick Remender's run, and then, of course, in Volume 1 of this complete collection. So, he's old again. His status is changing from time to time. Sometimes he's old, sometimes he's young. During the pages of Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America, he's a young guy again. So I'll let you find out on your own what happens maybe during some of these pages that could lead to Steve Rogers being young again. There's also, during this 7th issue, what is this? Oh, this is Joss Whedon and John Cassidy doing a tale of Captain America in the past. And then we have other creators like Tim Sell doing his own story. It's a really actually, Tim Sell's story is really sweet. I really like it. It's Captain America trying to get an item back from Hydra that belongs to him for personal reasons. And I thought that story was really sweet. We get a Greg Rucka, Mike Perkins story back here in the back. That's always a plus. I wish they could have gotten Ed Brubaker back. And then back to Captain America, Sam Wilson. So, what does this collect? This, by the way, has 504 pages, so it's a big, complete collection. So what does this collect? This collects Captain America, Sam Wilson, 7 through 24, Captain America 25, because it gets renumbered in issue 25. And then the Generations, Captain America Steve Rogers, and Captain America Sam Wilson, which is a one-shot that Marvel was doing during some... They did the same thing with Wolverine. They had Laura team up with Logan, who was the original Wolverine. So this also has stories during Civil War II. It also has a crossover with the Avengers standoff. So some of the stories aren't really completed in here. You may have to read something else. Like there's a funeral for one of their friends because of the events that happened in Civil War II. We have the return of one of my favorite characters because of the New Warriors, Rage, and the AmeriCops. These guys right here, they kind of feel like a little bit like some of the bad judges in Judge Dredd. And something happens to Rage during this. That is a really good, powerful issue, honestly. So I'll let you find out what exactly happens there. But this is what the artwork looks like. Most of it drawn by Daniel Acuna and Paul Renaud. Those are the two main artists on the book. And you can always tell when Daniel Acuna is supplying the artwork because his art has a painted look to it. And he's no stranger to Captain America. I mean, he's still drawing and painting Captain America. Now, let's keep going through these pages. Now, there are some big changes that happen for the character of Sam Wilson here. We also have a new Falcon. What is his name? Joaquin Torres. He's the new Falcon. Sam Wilson gets another side character later on. But then we get to issue 25 of Captain America. And then after issue 25 of Captain America, after Sam Wilson is renamed to Captain America 25, the numbering system changes again. And I think we're reverted back to 694, 695 when Mark Waid takes over the book again. This is why I do reading orders, because it does get kind of confusing. Like, where do you read this? Or where does Secret... did I say Secret Invasion earlier? I meant Secret Empire. Where does that take place? So that's the main reason I do reading orders. And even with numbers on these, I mean, the story doesn't continue in a volume 3. So now let's look in the back here. Actually, let's look at the Generations issue, because that's a really cool issue here. Yeah, here we go. I really like this issue here. Thought it's drawn well, it's written well. All of this written by Nick Spencer. And let's look in the back for extras. So most of the variants are kept in between issues, and in the back they keep the sketches back here of like character designs, like you have U.S. Agent, Flag Smasher, the AmeriCops. Yes, John's back. And then some tweets. What is this? Twitter? Twitter's gotta be, right? I don't know, I'm too old for that stuff. Let me know in the comments, is that Twitter or Instagram? What is that, Velvet? But, that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content and the page count of each of these trades. Let me know in the comments down below which ones you're picking up, which ones you're passing up on, which ones you're hoping to collect in an oversized format like an omnibus or an oversized hardcover. If you've picked up the Captain America in Epic collections and want to continue picking them up in complete collections, let me know all those comments down below. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button. We put out videos every day. We can be found on Redbubble and Patreon. Amazing ways to support the channel if you can do so. More importantly, please everybody, stay healthy, stay safe, and much love to all of you.